Hi, Neelam. Looking at Iraq, forces for United Kurdistan seem to be on the rise. Is this the best opportunity after decades for United Kurdistan, and what do you expect?
Well, it's certainly the best opportunity they've had in the last 30 years. The only earlier opportunity that did come up was during the Iraq-Iran war in the early 80s. At that time, basically, the United States lost interest in the Kurdish effort, and the whole thing dissolved into massive killing among the Iraqis and Iranians. Right now, it's an opportunity. They've already put forth a demand for independence. I understand that Israel has expressed support for the idea of an independent Kurdistan. It's not clear yet whether it will go beyond Iraqi Kurdistan or not, even though the Kurds in Syria have created a little enclave for themselves, which is quite peaceful. And at this moment, at least, the Syrian government has left it alone, and the various rebel groups do not seem to have attacked it. So they have captured Kirkuk, which is their historic capital. Flags are up, posters are up. It's an opportunity for beginning a more cohesive identity. Eventually, it is possible that the Syrian Kurdish bloc will join. At some point, the little Iranian community may join, but the real question for the international community is what happens to the Kurds in Turkey. At the moment, Turkey has very good relations and massive economic exchanges with Iraqi Kurdistan, but at some point this could tip over into renewed demands, probably starting with identity demands, language demands, etc., from the Kurds in Turkey. And then it is an open question how that will proceed.
So, can we expect the ISIS and the Kurdish groups to continue cooperating, or how will the Kurdistan eventually break away from the stronghold that the ISIS currently has?
No, there is no cooperation between those groups. It is a fact that both the Kurds and ISIS are Sunni, so there is some basis for cooperation. But at the moment, they are not actually doing anything together, and they seem to be leaving each other alone. There have been no attacks on Kurdish strongholds from ISIS.
But given that the ISIS vision sort of includes a larger caliphate, would that sort of not allow Kurdistan to eventually form if if groups eventually muster the will and the power to do so?
Well, if the ISIS, which has already declared itself a caliphate, follows its present script, then of course there is no space for separate countries at all, leave alone a separate Kurdistan. Then it is a caliphate which will incorporate all Muslims, or at least as many Sunni majority areas that they are able to dominate. So I don't think that has a direct connection with the emergence of a Kurdish republic or a federation.
Okay. Moving slightly to the ISIS now, we've seen attacks in Lebanon. Can we expect their violence to spread to other countries, maybe to even Jordan?
Well, there is great apprehension in the West that it could spread to Jordan, in which the monarchy is popular with some parts of the population, but the majority population is Palestinian in Jordan. The position of the Jordanian government is critical for the security of Israel, and of course they will do their best to prevent it being destabilized. ISIS would certainly want to move towards Jordan, and which is geographically contiguous as well. It really depends now on whether they take the strategic decision to consolidate or to continue their marches, because numerically the fighters are not large enough to take on so many armies.
So looking at India's interest in in this turmoil currently, of course there are 40 Indian hostages that have been there now for longer than a week. The price of oil continues to affect India. What's your outlook for the next 1 week? Is there anything India should keep an eye on?
Well, I think India, like everybody else, is intensely interested in what is happening. The situation of the hostages is tragic, but at least all the signals at the moment are that they are secure and they are safe. There are, of course, hostages from other countries, including a whole group of Turkish diplomats who were taken hostage from one of their consulates. Excuse me. Similarly, the price of oil is a concern for everybody, especially developing countries whose budgets are precariously poised. Uh, there is not much that India and many other countries can do to influence the course of events. Even countries like the United States were taken by surprise by the speed of the advance of ISIS. So I do not think that there is much that India can do except to stay in touch with all the countries concerned in the neighbors, try and be in touch with all the groups operating within Iraq and in this area. And of course, there are many more Indians still working, still in Iraq. There would be some in Syria. There are a quite considerable number also in the rest of the region. So this is a matter of major concern.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that analysis. We'll keeping a close eye on. We'll revisit this shortly. Thank you, Neelam.
Okay, thank you, Dev.